I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. If the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. If a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely. The world will ask you who you are, and if you do not know, the world will tell you. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth, and if a man does not know what a thing is, it is at least an increase in knowledge if he knows what it is not. As a child, I felt myself to be alone, and I am still, because I know things and must hint at things which others apparently know nothing of, and for the most part do not want to know. Thus, the soul has gradually been turned into a Nazareth from which nothing good can come. The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. Thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Every human life contains a potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, then that life was wasted. I must also have a dark side if I am to be whole. Midlife is the time to let go of an over-dominant ego and to contemplate the deeper significance of human existence. Children are educated by what the grown-up is, and not by his talk. The wrong we have done, thought, or intended will wreak its vengeance on our souls. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. That which you most need will be found where you least want to look. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. There's no coming to consciousness without pain. Naturally, every age thinks that all ages before it were prejudiced, and today we think this more than ever, and are just as wrong as all previous ages that thought so. The first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. The second half is going inward and letting go of it. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. I shall not commit the fashionable stupidity of regarding everything I cannot explain as a fraud. The relatively unconscious man, driven by his natural impulses because, imprisoned in his familiar world, he clings to the commonplace, the obvious, the probable, the collectively valid, using for his motto, "Thinking is difficult, therefore let the herd pronounce judgment." Where your fear is, there is your task. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. Whatever is rejected from the self appears in the world as an event. A more or less superficial layer of the unconscious is undoubtedly personal. I call it the personal unconscious. But this personal layer rests upon a deeper layer, which does not derive from personal experience and is not a personal acquisition, but is inborn. This deeper layer I call the collective unconscious. We are living in what the Greeks called the right time for a metamorphosis of the gods, i.e. of the fundamental principles and symbols. Freedom stretches only as far as the limits of our consciousness. Any theory based on experience is necessarily statistical, that is to say, it formulates an ideal average which abolishes all exceptions at either end of the scale and replaces them by an abstract mean. Every civilized human being, whatever his conscious development, is still an archaic man at the deeper levels of his psyche. Through pride, we are ever deceiving ourselves. But deep down below the surface of the average conscience, a still, small voice says to us, something is out of tune. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. To find out what is truly individual in ourselves, profound reflection is needed, and suddenly we realize how uncommonly difficult the discovery of individuality is. Nights through dreams tell the myths forgotten by the day. Art is a kind of innate drive that seizes a human being and makes him its instrument. To perform this difficult office, it is sometimes necessary for him to sacrifice happiness and everything that makes life worth living for the ordinary human being. Anyone who attempts to do both, to adjust to his group and at the same time pursue his individual goal, becomes neurotic.